Alright guys, our old friend, the Walgreens exclusive Vader here. If you guys watched my review on this figure, you know how much I did not like it and how many issues I had with the figure. The helmet came apart, amongst some other things. And at that time, I was really contemplating what to do with the figure. But after seeing some pictures posted of this head sculpt being painted black, I really like the sculpt work in there, and I think it works better for the Vader that we have. So I thought now might be a great time to try that and maybe shoot some video of it. I haven't done any customizing in quite a while, I'll be honest with you. It's been over a year since I've done any, and I had a workstation for doing it at that time, which I no longer have. So I thought maybe I would just gather a few quick supplies. This seems pretty quick and easy job, and I'm no professional painter or anything, but it's pretty much black and more black. So I thought, you know, not a lot of room for error here, and we can shoot a quick tutorial on it as we go. So looking at the head sculpt right off the bat, as you know, if you watched my previous video, this came apart and broke, so we'll lay that to the side. I heated this up before putting it in front of the camera so we could just pop the head sculpt off, and it should pop, yeah, popped off very easily. I won't be using this body. If this thing turns out pretty nice, we'll actually use one of the other bodies, the first versions of the Vader from the Black Series. So we'll just discard this for the time being, and I'll figure out what to do with that later. So this is pretty much what we're working with, and everything I've read, most people have used like a regular black or flat black, you know, on the actual face, and then like a gloss for the helmet part up here. And I think that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I have seen some people that have used like a gloss on the eyes as well. So we'll probably just use the same thing we used for this on here. I don't have a lot of my paints anymore, but I did go by and pick up a couple of testers acrylics, and always use acrylics when you're painting action figures. Enamels just really eat it up, the plastic, and make it all sticky. So I've got gloss black, and it's the tester, and it's got the blue label on it. I picked this up at Hobby Lobby or whatever. And I got some flat black as well, so we'll use that as well. And then I got some silver to do some accents on the helmet as well. All acrylics, all three of them. They're all testers. Don't have a huge selection in my area now to choose from, but there are better paints out there, and you can read on most of the forums which ones are recommended and stuff, and I'm sure you can find some better ones, but that's what we're going to use today. So I'm going to clean this guy up first before doing anything, and I've just got some alcohol pads here, so we'll just clean him up real good. Not that he's dirty or anything, but usually the paint sticks a little better if he's clean. So, you know, and he could have had some dust on him or something, so we'll clean him up all nice, and like so. And I'm not sure what that is back there, but kind of catching. It's like the plastic didn't seam together right. Anyway, yeah, there you go. And it works out good if you've got a stand or something. I used to have one that just stuck through here, and you could always put the head on it and while you paint it, but I don't have that, so I'm actually going to have to freehand this thing. So, you know, that kind of sucks, but we'll deal with it. So let's get started. Alright, now first I'm going to use my flat black here, as you can see. And typically I don't paint straight out of the jar, but in this case we're going to do so. And I got a little bit of water here. I just like to wet my brush a little bit before using it. Nice and soft. And I'm just going to dip a little bit in there and try to put some paint on here. And really want to go with very light coats, and then come back and put a second coat on. Alright, and there's our first coat of flat black on our head sculpt here, and as you can see I stuck the knife up through there to just hold it in place there. You know, it kind of worked okay. But yeah, just really flat, not much going on there. You can start to see that sculpt though and how it came out in there. And I think that came out pretty nice overall. But we're going to do the helmet next. So I'm going to lay this to the side and let it dry. And next we're going to use our gloss black and paint the helmet part there. Alright, so kind of messy, but we got our first coat on here. It really sucks not having the proper tools to hold things. So I'm probably going to have to get something to hold that on, or stand. I may end up putting it on the bottle or something just to keep it in place. But you can see that's just the first coat, and it's still a little bit transparent. So we're going to let that dry and then come back and add another coat. And we're back with our original head sculpt. And you can see that sculpt is already coming out in that flat black, which is looking pretty good. I'm liking that already. I let this sit overnight. It's completely dry. Basically for good measure. It usually will dry sooner than that, but I just wanted to make sure it was good and dry. It's just an old habit of mine of letting things sit overnight. So we're going to apply a second coat just to avoid any kind of chipping and stuff on the head sculpt. All right, and there's our second coat on, and it's ready to let this dry. And then we'll come back and paint these eyes in and a little more detail in the face. And moving on to our helmet piece. Definitely doesn't have the coverage the head sculpt did in the first coat. It is looking nice and shiny, and it's dry now. But it definitely has some more transparency to it. So it needs maybe one or two more coats. So let's try another coat on it and see how it turns out. I was having some trouble with this one, just holding it. It may be a good idea not to detach it from the head. Mine broke when I was reviewing it, so I just kept it that way. I thought it'd be easier to paint. So what I'm actually going to do is glue this back on the head before I put the third coat, so I have something to hold it with while I put the third coat on. And then we're going to use that same gloss to also paint over the eyes. So we're going to let this dry, and then we'll come back, attach this, and then do the finishing touches on it and the other coat on the helmet. Alright guys, so we're back and we're going to put another coat of gloss black on the helmet part, which is looking pretty shiny. But then I want to do the eyes as well. And paint those. So this is the only part that's going to get a little tough, is getting that detail in there around the eyes. And you just have to be careful with that. So I actually have some water on the brush just to see if this brush will handle the strokes. And it does appear they will, but a finer tip might actually work better. Putting a little gloss black on here and try to be really cautious here. Alright, so I try to do a little touch up on the eyes to make them come out a little more even, and we put that other coat on the helmet. So we're going to let this dry for a while. Alright, so we have our Vader head here, and it's pretty dry. Don't feel any real tackiness on it. So I think it's dry enough for us to apply some silver here. And we're just using the same thing, that Model Master acrylic, just plain silver. And we'll see how that does. So we're going to paint this up with a few details. If you really wanted to be a really detailed person, you could paint some silver back here underneath the bottom of the mask where those wires are. Personally, I'm not going to. I'm not going to see it. And, you know, this isn't a huge project. I just wanted to see how the sculpt looked. So, you know, I'm just going to do the front and go from there. Alright, and there's our silver additions added on there. And you can see we just added a silver dot pretty much in the nose there. And then on the two prongs sticking out from the mask. So we'll let all this dry again. and just see how it looks on the figure. All right, and here's our Walgreens exclusive painted head sculpt, all dry and on the older version body of Vader. And you can see here I took the Walgreens body and put the older head sculpt over here so we can take a look at them for comparison. And you can see a huge difference in these two sculpts. I definitely like this one much more. I hope Hasbro uses it going forward on any future versions of the Vader figures. My paint job didn't come out the best in the world. There is some definite brush strokes you can see in the helmet. If I'd slowed down or used you know, lighter coats, I think it would have come out a little better. But overall, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's a huge improvement over this one. This one always kind of had the sad eyes. I do like the red tinted lenses in this one, and mine does not have that. But you know, that's just really a small thing. And overall, I just got to say I'm really pleased with this one. I do encourage anyone to take on this project, especially someone looking for a starter project or just getting into painting or doing some customizing on figures. You know, it's a really easy project. It's not very costly. You know, 2 or 3 bottles of paint and you know, a couple brushes and you're good to go. And even if you don't do your best work, certainly I didn't do mine, I think it's still a huge improvement over this one. And you know, some customizers will knock that out of the park, but I think anybody can you know, do what I did and have a huge improvement over their previous Vader. So let's go in tighter on these head sculpts just so we can get a little better look. And wrapping up with one final close-up shot of these guys, and you definitely can see that huge difference in the sculpts. The Walgreens this time is over on the left and the older version over here on the right. You also can see those brush strokes are even more defined this close-up and under the light, but really outside of this light it just looks nice and shiny, and I can't wait to get it in my display. I hope you guys will take on this project. It's fairly easy, as I mentioned, and I hope I provided you with enough information to be able to do so yourself. If you liked the video, please give me a big thumbs up. Facebook and Twitter, links in the description below as always. Please subscribe, guys. We do put reviews of action figures up weekly, so definitely check us out on the channel. And I'm also going to link my new friends over at Jedi Temple Archives. They're your source for Star Wars collectible news, reviews, and archives. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you soon.